Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Bill Holmes. Welcome to tonight's edition of ProjectManagementForum.net. Tonight, we're continuing the video series on the PMI Code of Ethics and Conduct. And tonight, we're focusing on the value of responsibility, specifically the mandatory standards. So the first mandatory standard is we inform ourselves and uphold the policies, rules, regulations, and laws that govern our work, professional, and volunteer activities. That is a mouthful. Let me say this, that I am in principle 100% in agreement with this standard. I mean, you can't have a standard that says it's okay to break rules or regulations or laws. I will say, though, that in the real world where we all live, many of us work in organizations or just in an environment that has a Byzantine web of rules and regulations that at any moment you could be violating something you didn't actually know. And so on this particular one, I think that the notion is good, and I think that the logic is good because clearly you have to say, as an ethical standard, you're going to agree to all the rules, regulations, laws, etc. I think in such a complicated world we live in, I see people sometimes commit foot faults. They might have broke a rule or something because they didn't even realize that rule was out there. And I think you do need to be cognizant about that, especially as we move into the remaining mandatory standards. Now, the next one is, we report unethical or illegal conduct to appropriate management and, if necessary, to those affected by the conduct. 100% in agreement. If you know that somebody is committing unethical or illegal acts, you do need to report them. But let me say that remember that as a project manager, it is your responsibility to first verify. If you're going to report somebody and say they're doing something unethical, you're going to bring a whole world of hurt down on that person. And so you need to make sure that you're not making an unsubstantiated claim. All you need to do is look in the press today and see where time after time after time again there was a rush to judgment, and then the story had to be recanted. Once you've filed an ethical complaint, once you've quote-unquote reported to appropriate management an ethical breach or illegal conduct, you have started a wheel moving. You better be darn sure that you know, or there's a preponderance of evidence. Don't rush to judgment because you're talking about somebody's professional career here. But I do agree with the standard. The next one is, we bring violations of this code to the attention of the appropriate body for resolution. Again, that's a very clear-cut standard. If you know somebody violated something, you need to report it, because if you have people in the project management community who are behaving unethically, that reflects on all of us, and that's no good. The next one, though, I think is exceptionally important. And in fact, I would have actually put this one first, because, as I said earlier, to report somebody for something is not an insignificant thing, and you better be darn sure you have your facts right. So the next one I would actually have put first. We only file ethics complaints when they are substantiated by facts. Not your opinion, not innuendo, not how you feel, facts. There's that old saw that facts are stubborn things. There's also that old saw that you can't have facts and I can't have facts. There are just facts. There's a fact pattern. If you're going to file a complaint or report somebody to somebody, you better make darn sure that you have the facts, or at least there's a preponderance of evidence there, because again, you're going to put wheels in motion that are serious. Finally, we pursue disciplinary action against an individual who retaliates against a person raising ethical concerns. Now, that's an interesting one because I'm not really sure how I would do that. Let's say that I'm aware that somebody was doing something unethical in my organization. Let's say that I knew that somebody else had reported them to PMI, and then I now know that they are being untoward to that person who reported them. I don't know what I do about that. Within my organization, I don't know how I do disciplinary action if they're not working for me. So I think this one is kind of interesting because, again, notionally it makes perfect sense. I think, though, in the real world where you've got organizational structures and reporting structures, sometimes it's not easy to pursue disciplinary action against somebody who doesn't work for you Or maybe it works for a complete different organization. Or maybe it's something that you know socially. I mean, how are you going to pursue disciplinary action? So again, I think that this one makes sense from sort of you got to have a baseline of ethical standards. I don't know in a practical sense how an individual would do that to someone who doesn't work for them. Okay, in the next session, we're going to talk about the value of respect. Thanks for listening. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have any questions, please go to the website and leave me an email, and I'd be more than happy to respond. Have a great evening.